Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to AskAJ. I'm AJ Hanna from Symphony Ventures, and we talk about issues related to intelligent automation and robotic process automation here. And one of the things that if you are either getting ready to start an RPA program or perhaps you've already implemented one, is a question around how do I explain to our risk compliance team, our auditing team, what we're doing with this program and how the program works. One of the ancillary benefits of RPA that we've talked about quite often here is that many times you get increased insights into the transactional activity and how it's being done. Let's say, for example, the work that you do isn't captured extensively within an audit trail in the source system that you're using. RPA is picking up everything that the robot does and creating activity reports that may give you more insight into what happens with a transaction along its life cycle than what you might know about your human associates. Well, all that data is important and informative to your risk and your audit teams. Remember, what they want to do is to try to assure that the work is being done in accordance with guidelines, in accordance with standards, and in accordance with business expectations. And that should be true of your digital workforce in much the same way as your human workforce. One of the things that you can do as you sit down to have that conversation with audit is talk about the way in which your program has been structured. Talk about the way in which you are controlling how bots get developed, how bots get approved for production, and how bots are monitored once they've been rolled into production. How has that been organized? How is it monitored? And in many of the ways that they are, your auditors are looking for the ways in which they can monitor and assure that our people are doing all the things that we need them to do in the way we want them to do it. The same questions can be asked about your digital workforce. So be ready to walk in and talk about this is how a bot gets created, this is how a bot gets audited, this is how a bot gets rolled into production, and this is how it gets managed after it's rolled into production. One of the other things that you might want to be ready to talk about is the way that you manage the interaction between your digital worker and your human associate. So again, as we've talked about many times, you're oftentimes not automating entire processes, but you're automating pieces within a process flow, which means that there's work being tossed back and forth between human labor and digital labor. So you're going to want to be sure to be able to speak to how you're controlling the pass back and forth between your digital worker and your human worker. Again, how can they monitor that? What guidelines are set and expectations are created, and how can they assure that that's being done as effectively and appropriately as possible. One of the things that many have talked about is the idea that there may soon come a day, the more work that we digitize and the more that we automate, where sample sizes for audits could end up being 100%. That statistically valid random sampling to try to figure out what's going on within the entire universe of a sample may not be as efficient as it once was, because now we have more instant access to all of this data and all of this information in a digital format. So your auditors and risk compliance officers are going to be very keenly interested in the progress of your program because it may lead to changes in the way in which they do their work as well. So get them involved early. Again, be ready to explain to them the ways in which you are managing that digital workforce that you're creating, and how are you and the business areas managing the pass back and forth between digital labor and human labor. If you have questions that you'd like to see me address here on AskAJ, drop me a line at askaj@symphonyhq.com. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter at AskAJ Hanna, no H on the end, and we'll talk to you again soon.